Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm going to do a deck profile, which I am so thankful that I did it right now, which is on a Tuesday night after the stream. Which, in case you didn't know, that we have some restrictions on Shadow Paladins right now. That for Luard deck, you can't put Nemain and Luard together. You can only use one of them. So I mean the Dragheart Luard and Nemain. So you won't be able to use that Superior Chain combo with Band-Aid to first Superior Riding into Phantom Blaster Dragon and then right into Dragheart Luard and do your effect. So you can't do that anymore. But what I'm going to do today is also a Luard deck profile. But since the build is actually before I want to change it into the build that is not available anymore, so I'm kind of okay and did a little bit changes on the stuff so you can see the what we say a workable version. Yeah, so without further ado, let's go into the deck profile. First, of course, starting Vanguard, anything you like. But also, since this is my friend's deck and I'm just borrowing it for playtesting, having fun. Of course, before when we have the Superior Chain, it's not very fun for your opponent, but yeah, it's still a deck that I want to feel about, but at that time I don't want to invest money on that because I do have Ghidorah, I do have Gaia, like Tachi Megas, and so many other builds that I need to spend money on. So yeah, so starter, just use anyone you want. In I'm running 4 of the Dragheart Luard, so by seeing this, you will know that this deck will not include any Nemains at all because I'm using Dragheart Luard. So I am still trying to make a build based on him and his skill to superior into Driver Luard to keep gaining force markers. There are builds that actually give up using this Luard and want to use the main and keep the superior chain with Band-Aid, Blaster Dark, PPD, and grade 2 to help you get your Blaster Dark. But I'm trying to avoid that in this build because I want to showcase on more on Dragheart Luard, because even without the main, this card is still very strong. The deck is very strong as well. So what he does is first you have an active skill by retiring 2 of your grade 1 regards, draw 1, and retire 1 of your opponent's regards. So this is very helpful. Not only the draw 1, but you can choose what you want to kill. Then by just killing 2 of your grade 1s, which you can send them back to your deck and call back out later. And also help you to reduce the cost of your second skill, which normally costs you 3 counterblast, but for each grade 1 card in your drop zone, you can minus 1 counterblast cost. So if you have 3 grade 1s, then you don't need to counterblast at all and use this skill. And then you will pick 2 normal units from your drop zone to your deck and search from your deck a Drag Driver Luard, ride a stand, shuffle the deck. And when you end your turn, you will ride this card in rested and you gain another force marker. So basically what you can do with this card is gaining 3 markers on your first turn ride with skills, and after that, even if you're not riding any of your grade 3s, you can still get 2 force markers every single turn. So this is massive. Even Gear Chronicles can't get that much, so I always like having fun to talk to my friends and say Gear Chronicles are crying, but in fact they did not. And in a WGP qualifier, there's so many lure, but then a gear chronicle actually beats all the lures and win the first place. So yeah, that's another fun fact. But yeah, and then I am running 3 of the Dragonlord Luard. So now this card is what you ride from your Dragonlord Luard by skill. Normally you don't want to ride this card, because once you just stand there, he is not doing a lot of things. He do something, but it's more useful when you ride him every single turn. So what it does is, first during a turn, for each grade 1 Regard you have, this card will get 5k. And if you have 2 or more grade 3s in your soul, all your regards, grade 1 regards, their original critical becomes 2. So in the past, what people do is they first superior ride into Venom Blaster Dragon, which is your first grade 3, and then you ride into a Luard. Then you have 2 grade 3s, 1 in soul, 1 on top, and superior ride into this Luard. Then you have your PBD and this Luard in there, so you already have 2 grade 3 souls. And you can do it very quickly with the Blaster Ride Chain Ride combo. If you are actually going first, then when your opponent is on like grade 2, then you probably already been doing this, which is very annoying, and a lot of people just having a hard time. If they don't have like good early guards, they probably can even just lose the game there. But now, unless you take him out for the mains, you won't be able to do that anymore. And without your Dragheart Luard, you can't keep recycling. So that's another thing that you will need to consider. But in this build, I will just keep recycling, and then use also his second skill is very useful, which is when he appears on the circle counter +1, then you call grade 1s from your deck equals to the number of Luard in your soul +1. So at first you probably will be calling 2, and then when you keep using combos to keep superior riding Luard every turn, then when the Luard in your soul keep increasing, then you can keep calling more grade 1 units, and you will be recycling this. So even if you soul blast a Jack Driver Luards out, you can still like put him back to your bottom of the deck, so you can kind of guarantee yourself being able to superior ride into Drag Driver Luard every single turn. So this is good, and I think this is the reason why I like this build rather than trying to superior ride. The superior ride is strong, but it's kind of less fun. But this one, is still strong, but I think the fun factor is more in here. Then next I'm running one of the Phantom Blaster Dragon. I'm still using it, but I can tell you here that I'm not using any band-aids, so I won't be superior riding Phantom Blaster Dragon for early rush, because I prefer not to use space for her if I can't use the main to kind of easily search her out. And putting 4 copies of her, once I missed it, she is like a dead card, so I'd rather not do that. The Phantom Blaster Dragon can gain crit on himself, also build your drop zone with grade 1s as long as you're willing to counter blast on every type 3 of your regards to gain 15k and crit, so he can do early rush. Also, if your opponents have 4 or less damage and they have no regards, as long as you Soul Blaster grade 3, then you can deal 1 damage. So he is also helpful for you to push some damage through when your opponents didn't take any damage early game and you want to push them a little bit more. then Venom Blaster Dragon is still quite useful here. And then next entering grade 2, so I'm still running 2 of the Blaster Dogs. If I'm using the superior riding build, that's probably will also be my lineup, because I don't actually rely on this superior ride that much, because sometimes I will never draw at the main, so I am rather get prepared for that. But Blaster Dog, I think 2 is okay, given that we are not using any guarantee search anymore, so he's just there if I want to have him in hand, and when my opponents have no regards or maybe only 1 regards, then I can just ride my Blaster Dog, kill that regard, make sure they have no regards on the field, discard a card, which probably a great one, and gain a Chain Drive. So Chain Drive here is still helpful for you to do some early push. Maybe you get a crit, maybe you get a draw, or maybe you get a heal so that you can heal off the counter blast that you use. Even if you get nothing, you still get 2 cards by discarding 1 card, so still helpful. And you actually do want to kind of build up your drop zone with great ones before you ride into your Dragheart Luard, so the more ways to help you build that up, the easier you can get to play with your Dragheart Luard smoothly, which I think is still a very, very good choice. Then I'm running 4 of the Mofessa. She's one of your main attacker, and as long as you keep gaining force markers, she will be very, very strong. So her first skill is a Regard and Index skill, which if you have a Luard Vanguard, then she'll become a great one. But of course, the original grade is still 2, so some skills might not be that useful, which also directly related to her second skill, which is after she attack battle ends, if you have 4 or more regards that their grade originally is 1, by counterblasting 1 and retire this unit, you can call a great one from your drop zone. So you can do multiple attacks with this, which is very, very strong. As long as you have so many force markers on them, even just a 5k regard can still be a 25k, 35k, 45k attacker, depending on how many force markers you place. So one weak point is you don't want to call 2 of her out, or when you call her out, you don't have 4 other great ones, because you need to have 4 regards that original grade is grade 1 in order to use a skill. So be careful on that. Don't call 2 copies out and think that she -1, so it's a grade 1. No. Her original grade is still 2. Then I'm running 4 of the Dragwizard DFL. So in the past, I probably will cut him down to 3, but since now I got a little bit more space, I am actually putting more of him so that I can find any great ones that I want just by counterblasting 1, which I think is still helpful. You can call a Abyssal Owl and other great ones that I actually are going to show you. So you kind of have a guaranteed call, and in the past you probably will be using him to call in the main if you don't have one on the field. But now you are open to more options depending on different situations to help you out through the game. Then let's enter grade 1s. So first I'm running 4 of the Brandwinds. She is still helpful here. Make sure I have more chances to hit my Dragheart Luard right now. And I can simply discard this. I can discard other great ones to fill my drop, so I can use the skill easier. And her skill to gain 5k power only requires you to have 3 grade 1s in your drop zone, which is quite easy. And as long as you keep 3 grade 1s in your drop zone, your Dragheart Luard can use his skill for counterblast free. So basically you will keep 3 grade 1s in your drop zone, so she can get 5k, he can superiorite without any counterblast cost. Then I'm running 2 of the Abyssal. Like in the past I probably will choose to run a little bit more, but now I think 2 is enough, because you will keep recycling your deck, and you can simply just snipe him off with Dragheart Luard skill to draw your cards and retire something and then recycle back and call again. But this card, in my opinion, is actually better than Swordbreaker in terms of drawing, because he can use Soul Blast instead of Counter Blast. If your Vanguard grade is the same as your opponent's Vanguard grade, which you lose the 5k power that Swordbreaker can gain when you call her from hand, but you are easier to get a draw, because you do use quite a bit of Counter Blast here, so saving Counter Blast sometimes helps. And Abyssal I'll give you this option, so it's a better drawing source. And then I am running this little grade 1's niece here. So she is a lure searcher. When you ride her as a grade 1, then you look at top 7 and find your Leofel or a Dragheart Luard into a hand for free, which again, like Brandman, can help you easier to search up main pieces because you want to ride your Dragheart Luard and keep superioriting your Dragdriver Luard. So the more sources you can actually obtain this card is helpful. And her second skill is when she appears by card skill. By Soul Blasting 1, you can get your opponents to pick one of the rear guard and retire it. So another piece of retiring power, helpful. Help you clean the board, even if it's not your choice, but if you can kind of make your opponents only have like 1 to 2 rear guards left, then they probably will pick the one that you want. And then I'm running 2 of the Knight of Strict Order Swells. I'm not sure if I pronounced her right, but that's what I call it. So her skill is very simple. As long as you have 5 grade 1s on your field, regards, of course, she will get 15k power. So she can be a 20k, which is a very good combo piece with Morfessa. So you attack with Morfessa to get a very, very high power attack with force markers, and then you retire her and call her out for another crazy attack with high power. But 2 is enough, because even though she stays on the field most of the time, but you rather also have other options, just in case if sometimes you really need to have 2 grade 2s on the field, which hopefully don't happen, but sometimes that happens. And whenever you call a Morfessa, she can still gain a skill, which can be helpful sometimes to have you tune your great high power numbers and hit what you want. But you really need to be very careful on your field to make sure all of them are basically grade 1s. Okay, and next I'm running Knight of Accomplishment Delight. Sorry if I say it wrong, but yeah, probably. So he is also another card that when you call him with card skill, then now this time this card soul charge 1. So this is some kind of a gambling factor for you if you want to do some early rush with Lord, because you use his skill, super riding him, you only have 1 Lord in soul, but you call this card out, soul charging 1, which of course can be your cost for Abyssal, but also if you luckily soul charge a grade 3 in your soul, then you can actually make this skill active to give all your great ones critical becomes 2. But since it's just a gambling factor, so I'm only putting 1 just in case if you like recycling stuff but you starting to don't have enough souls, or they are all lures and you don't want to soul blast them all out, then at least you can like call these as a pair, soul charge 1 and then soul blast that, so that you just soul charge. And then I'm running this Hunter of Transgression Backdoor. So this is a card that I first didn't put in because I was thinking to put in for the mains, but now since I have more space, then I actually increase some grade 2s, I change a little bit ratio on grade 1s and also put this card in, because this card when appears on Vanguard and Riga Circle, by discarding a grade 1 from your hand, you draw 1 back, and one of your unit will get 5k. So 2 in your numbers, help you early rush, drop you some great ones, draw your cards back, fill up your drop. So you can see this deck actually tries a lot of way to help you build up your drop zone with probably a lot more great ones to start with. So you can have 2 great ones in your drop already, and then probably just try to use the Abyssal to Soul Blast, then fulfill your cost for free, kind of last free. So yeah. Then lastly, I'm putting 2 of the Carons, but at the moment I don't have 2 here, since I don't actually have a Shadow Paladin deck. So for now I will just place it like that as a proxy. But after playtesting, Caron really needs to pump up to at least 2 or maybe 3 if you want to, because Caron can help you counter charge, which is very important. And Caron can also Soul Blast, so you can Soul Blast the great ones, you can Soul Blast Morfessa, or even Soul Blast your Dragheart Luard, so you can be ready to recycle next turn, and also have your counter charge, so you can use your counter blast a lot freely to without less restrictions. So I think Caron is still a very good card to have. Then entering triggers, I'm running 8 crit, 4 of the PG draws, and 4 heals. So nothing too special on the trigger lineups. But for 30k triggers, I don't think it's needed here, because you do have a lot of drawing power. You can build your own board, so you don't need to worry about your hand size that much. As long as you have your PGs to block the key attacks, then you probably can survive. And with more force marker you have on the field, you can just push more, and your opponents will need to drop damage hand to guard all those attacks, because once you get 2 grade 3s in, so your Dragheart Luard will turn all your size to 2 crit base, so your opponents will likely need to block most of the attack and only taking the Vanguard attack. But when they are on 4 damage, then they will probably keep taking to gamble, or they will just guard all of your attacks so that they can survive, depending on how like the personality of your opponent. But that's still going to use a lot of resources, and if they choose not to guard and you suddenly pull a crit, which is why we have 8 crit here, then you can just close the game. Yeah, so that's basically the list, and let's jump into how we can build up the field or do some riding options here. So at first, your riding choice will likely be Knees or your Brandwind. Probably only these two, unless you don't have a choice. Or, well, even her with Doba, you can still use her, but most of the time you will be using these to try to search yourself a Dragheart Luard. But let's say most ideal you ride her because you look at top 7, and even if you get something, you don't need to discard anything. So there you go. And for grade 2s, your right option, of course, Blasted Arc, so that you can gain an extra train drive, or Leofel if you want to pull yourself another great one like her, or just your Abyssal Owl so you can draw cards. So you can make a choice, or even if you have both, then you can just write your Master Dark, call a Leofel, and call one of these, probably like that, and Soul Blast your great one, draw yourself a card if you're going second, or, well, if you, let's say, if you're actually going first, then you probably use that Counter Blast to kill one of your opponent's regards, and maybe you get these, or some other great ones, doesn't matter which ones, you can just drop that and gain yourself a train drive. So, and after that, when you can go to your Great Freeze, best of the best Lord, unless you really need to push the damage, then you can use PBD, but most of the time you will be riding Lord, and you can use PBD after if you still can't push enough when your opponent is on 4 less damage and you want to Soul Blast a Great Free and snipe them and other damage if they don't play Regards, like Granblue, they kill all the Regards. But if they have anything left, then you probably will be riding Phantom Blaster. But say you ride him, and now you do need to get yourself some great ones. So if you can at least have 3 here, then you can just go to your Superior Ride. Based on this, you can call 2 great ones, and which likely will be at least a Abyssal Owl here. And say if you only have 1 Counter Blast, then you might also call a Karen here, basically from the deck, probably. So let's say we have 3 great ones here, or even just 2, because you're returning like this, and then you're calling this and this from the deck, so blasting a great one because of this, so you can counter charge and get 3k, and this, if you your opponent is on grade 2, then you can use the counter blast to draw 1. If your opponent is on grade 3, then you can even just Soul Blast another card. Doesn't matter. Choose a normal unit, so you can recycle with Lord later and draw yourself another card. And from here, you're already gaining 2 force markers based on riding and superior riding. And you might play something on the field, maybe a Professor, Brandwind, try to search yourself a grade 1, grade 3, and maybe you just drop it. Then maybe just another grade 1. But for your first turn, doesn't matter too much unless you have like 2 grade 3s installed, then that's different case. Then you probably will want to have a full field, a grade 1 counter Mofessa, and when all your grade 1 regards critical becomes 2, then you can just swing, pop, and in here, if you can call her, but you can still call another episode out if you want to. You can still call this to snipe the Dragheart if you want to. You can even call it Karen so that you can soul blast and counter charge, so you have counter blast to use for next turn, assuming if your opponents want to damage deny you sometimes. Then you still have like 2 crit base attack for 2 times and something that you can do chain drive. Yeah, so you just keep doing it, keep recycling it, and after that you just superiorize, get into another force marker. Next turn maybe you write another Luard, snipe yourself some great ones, probably this, and then recycle this, and probably recycle this, and you call yourself more great ones, draw yourself some cards, do some counter charging, build your board, have some Mofessa on, have 1 Mofessa on the field so you can keep attack, pop, and call a great one. Then you just keep doing it until you win. Yeah, so that's basically how you pile up the deck. Just keep yourself this one on the field so you have high power, or make sure she's on the drop so you can use Mofessa skill to switch into her when you have enough great ones. And make sure you count your grave, your drop zone, so that you have some normal units to put back into your deck. Even just soul blasting this card, and or even just call him out. Maybe push him over so he's in the drop zone. Then you can put 2 normal units back and just directly superiorize into that. So this superiorize will hardly get to an end when you say you have no resources unless all of them goes to your damage and you never heal. If that happens, yeah, you have your day, but if not, even as long as you have 1 in your draw in your soul, you can still soul blast 1 and recycle and superiorize. Because it's an active skill, so you don't need to worry too much. Yeah. So that's basically how the deck runs, and some writing options that you need to consider. So do let me know if you have any questions about this build, some comments about like Nemain and Luard can't be together. Do you feel it's better for the game, or you think it's not enough? So also feel free to let me know. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.